Welcome back, or indeed if this is the first time, welcome to Bologna, Baloney, Europa Universalis 4 with Dan from Dan Has Fun. Last episode, we helped many a nation kick France around a bit. So now it is a very wonky shape. We have an enlarged Picardy, we have a Toulouse, with a fairly good overall development. It has 6 provinces. That's a pretty big nation to break off in one go. Shame we can't ruin its day. Anyway, this episode is going to be our turn to work out whose day we want to ruin, rather than getting into somebody else's war defensively. So let's work out what we want to do. First thing we should do, pick a rival. And if we wanted to be bullies, we could pick Provence. Honestly, it may be the time to go after Spain, but we're going to be bullies. We're going to be flat-track bullies for now and rival Provence. I don't think Provence, at least southern Provence, is going to be long for this world. They have one random province, Anjou, on the west, 4 provinces in the east, and then 4 provinces in the southeast. They're going to have a very hard time dealing with rebels if they show up. Their only saving grace is they are allied to France, so at least France will let them travel between them. We'll see how long that lasts. Anyway, we need to work out who we're going to go after, and we have a few targets, because in the end we do want to form Italy. Whether we take the Italian ideas and traditions or not, I'm not sure. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But in terms of options, we could go after Tuscany to take Firenze, because we do need it. But that would drag Spain in, so that could be a little bit dangerous. The Papacy, that would be a pretty tasty option too. What if we could get a, we just have to get a claim on them first, which would be easy enough. We have adjacent land. But then again, we would also be bringing Spain in. So our other option, our wimpier, easier option, would be to attack Milan. And it's kind of a 2-for-1 in many ways. Well, actually, it's a 3-for-1 when you think about it. If we attack Milan, we're going to drag in Provence and Tuscany, as well as 2 one-province minors that we really don't care about. Memmingen over here, and Trent, who we just don't care about at all. We would have to do almost all of the fighting ourselves. Poland wouldn't jump in because it's too far away. Austria wouldn't jump in because they're tired from dealing with beating up France. And England just won't because it's too, they're busy right now beating up Scotland. Bohemia, though, would jump in. And if we really wanted Austria to get in, we could get them to prepare for war. That's an option as well. And that's what we're going to do. So we just got soldiers off them, so we do have to wait until the 28th of July. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start by moving some of our troops around so that we are ready. We can't get over to Nizza yet. We have to wait because Genoa is... they would let us through, but I don't really want to use the Diplo point to do it. Oh, I guess we can. Don't be that stingy. We'll just do that so they're ready. And then the other stack. So this is not the siege stack. That can come down... no, let's keep it in our capital. Keep things safe. So we need to go forwards about 3 weeks. So we can get to the 28th. And we're going to be there right about now. There we go. Ask them to prepare for war. So what will happen now, we'll have to wait for our diplomat to come back. But they will now be willing, because getting them to prepare for war gives them a +20 modifier. So even though they're still tired, they'll get in. And they're really not that tired. They say they have war exhaustion. It's not being caused by their manpower, though. It's legitimately just their war exhaustion stat. They still have tons of manpower. Bohemia, weirdly, would jump in despite only having 2,000 manpower. So, they weren't wimpy. Austria, get with the program. But this will also be a nice way of making sure these two aren't fighting each other, because, remember, Bohemia has rivaled Austria. Austria hasn't returned the favour, thank goodness. So right now we are not as safe as we would like to be from an alliance combination. I've said it a few episodes ago, you really shouldn't end up allying all 3 of these at the same time. It's a recipe for disaster. But for now, it's the recipe. It's like a happy accident. It's like you take the recipe from the book, you mess it all up, and somehow you turn into a delicious, steak and chips anyway. Alrighty. Let's get this started. It is a shame that we can't get Milan as a claim, but we don't have an adjacent border with them, so we're just going to have to eat it. But it's fine. So what do we want as our war goal? Doesn't matter, neither of them have a fort. Okay, we're just going to pick the closest one then, so it's going to be Cremona. And time to ruin. We are going to take our admiral back, though, and park in front of Provence. Trent is landlocked, Memmium is landlocked, Milan is landlocked. I'm not worried about naval issues in this engagement. And we are immediately going to start bopping stacks. And thank goodness we're taking our siege specialist over to Trent, because that's a level 3 fort in the mountains. So our attrition there is going to be pretty nasty. Provence's army is so small, in fact. I'm tempted just to split the siege immediately. Can I get another military leader? Yeah, I can, without having to pay. That's a pretty good leader, too. That's an all-rounder. Not quite as good in combat as the 2 combat specialists, with a total of 6 pips between fire and shock. But it has 6 maneuver, so that is going to be great at reducing attrition. And he has 2 points of siege. Anton, you're pretty good. You're, like I said, an all-rounder, and I like what I'm seeing. How are we in naval conflict? Where's the fight happening? Oh, it's down here. It's a battle between trade fleets. We don't care. They only had 2 ships. And Tuscany got stack wiped. Trent got stack wiped. Royal marriage with Poland. Absolutely. Hungary still got troops in French territory, which is interesting. They've taken a long time to get their troops out. I don't care who sieges Memmingen. Just somebody do it that's not me, because it's annoyingly far away. It's funny, the only nation we're not dealing with right now is the war intended target. Where are they going? Okay, they are going to get involved, and I'm going to go move over to Sluzo so I can start sieging them out. I didn't want to head first into it because I didn't know what I was going to expect to get in resistance. But we'll certainly help Austria bop that stack. Gold found by Portugal. Nice extra money bonus for them. Spain. Actually, we should look at the colonial side just for a moment. Quite a jarring, shift in tone, I grant you. But I am curious what's happening territorially speaking overseas. So England is doing what it normally does and starts colonizing. Well, it starts with Newfoundland and then goes into mainland Canada, and then it will slowly start creeping down the American coastline. We have a pretty big federation of tribes down here as part of Ichizi. Ikizi, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. You can say that about almost everything in this game. Portugal started to colonize Mexico and then kind of the Texas area, New Mexico. Spain's the one that's gone for the Caribbean. You usually see Portugal here first, but I guess Spain's decided to make it its own. And Portugal has slowly colonized little bits and pieces of South America. Also interesting, they usually go for a much bigger Brazil or La Plata, Argentina, but not in this game. There's also not a lot of action over here. I don't see them having colonized the coast of Africa. France has a little bit. There's a Spanish island. Interesting. Be curious what the Cape looks like. Election time. How old is our boy? So, Doge Ercole Bentivoglio is 49. He's an embezzler, which sucks. Fierce Negotiator is irrelevant for us. It is funny, though, that it makes the AI really, really, really unwilling to accept peace terms when the AI has that trait, which I always find kind of fun. It's only 49, so I'm tempted to keep him going on unless the family member's fantastic. The family member is not fantastic. He's distinctly average, so we're going to keep him. And hope he doesn't die straight away, because that would be our luck, wouldn't it? Now that he's a 665. We could invest in a new military tech. It would cost us more than double the base cost. But we would get innovation out of it. But we really don't need to get more and more innovation at like giant rates of knots. You accumulate it generally, you know, gradually and slowly anyway, as long as you're ahead of time on tech. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is check our development. Where's it most efficient to use this right now? Well, I don't want to use it there because that's super expensive. Verona, where are you? I want to... Okay, you're in the Venezia group. I want to make your development a little bit cheaper. It'll cost me some money. But the state income here is ludicrous anyway because of the trade node. And we're just going to mash this button until we can't mash it anymore. Okay, now it's up to 13. Can't go any higher than that because the other two add up to 12. Any other province in that state that would be really benefited? Yeah, oh wow, this is exactly what you want. Grassland is cheap to develop in. So let's get that up to 30. There we go. That's going to help our manpower enormously. So now we can have a cap of 54,500. And the cap dictates how much you get every month, partly. So that'll help us acquire more every month too. 560 a month. That's pretty good. There is a critical mass eventually where you have so much manpower that you can pretty much do whatever you want for the rest of time. We haven't got there yet. What that magic number is, I guess, depends on how good at this game you are and how reckless you want to play. In my mind, once you get to about 200,000, you can pretty much get away with anything. Assuming you're not just at war every single waking moment. Trent has been sieged out. We're just going to sit there for now. We're not attritioning anyway. Actually, no, I tell a lie. We're going to go over here just so we have a few extra troops. Trent will want to peace out. We're going to wait until our troops leave, just so we don't have anything weird happen. Now, does Austria want Trent? No. Is Trent in a state that's worth anything to us? Also no. So I'm not going to take that province. I don't need it. We could vassal them, but what's the point? We also have no point pillaging them, other than just to be rude. So we're not going to do that. We're not even going to break any alliances with Milan. Well, actually, no, we'll break it with the papacy, because that's just something else I don't have to deal with. We'll take the maximum amount of gold, which is an absolutely pathetic amount, but that increases the duration of the treaty, so I don't have to worry about them as much. Pastors' political struggle. Time has come for the pastors to appoint a new leader to assist our doge in the capital. So we can support a younger candidate, spend some money, lose some prestige, but the pastors love us, and they lose influence, which is interesting. Or we can just say don't get involved. I'm just going to do that. It costs us less money, and we do want the pastors' influence to be fairly high. We should be able to siege land, well, seize land. We can siege their land too if we wanted to, but seize land after war. We want to keep getting this up and up, because the more crown land we own, the bigger this bonus is going to be. The monthly autonomy change is not a huge amount, but that is helpful when you're getting into a big nation. And we still have plenty of governing capacity cap, so we can keep expanding. That's Firenze no longer anything we have to deal with. Austria's slowly sieging Provence. I don't even think we have to do anything on that front. I guess we should move our stack out of Firenze, though, because we don't want to completely destroy a province if we might want to take it. I just wish we could hurry up sieging out Toulon. I get it, we don't have our siege specialist in there. I guess we can, just to speed the process up. We'll just accept there might be fractionally more attrition for this month's tick. This one taking time is much less of a deal. There we go. Yes, Mr. Karachi. Fantastic siege leader. I guess we should take him over to that side, because I don't trust the AI, given the fiasco last time, them to actually do the thing that they need to do. And then once this 16,000's finished, we'll have that go with our siege stack, just so if they've consolidated all of their reinforcements together, we don't walk into a nasty surprise. Really, the only downside of our big siegey boy is because he has 0 maneuver, they are so slow at moving. Because your movement speed is enhanced by having maneuver, unsurprisingly. But if you are turtle level slow, you take forever to get anywhere. Did Birmingham get siege? Okay, it's in the process of being siege, which means I can just move this stack back to our capital. It doesn't have to do anything. And we're going to bop that one ship. Thank you. You're going to go back to port. You're going to go back to Parma. Go have some ham. Or bologna, I guess. That would be episode contextual, right? Oh, and our admiral just kicked the bucket. That's a shame. He was okay. Let's recruit a new one. That one's not bad. Andrea Vizani has a point of siege for all that'll matter, but he has 6 total pips in his combat stats, so that'll be more than what I need. Realistically, if we end up in a war with Spain, we're just going to be hiding our navy anyway, because they have a lot more ships than we do, and a lot more naval capacity than we do right now. We are, after this war, going to invariably go through build all the things moment again, see if we have any useful buildings to get. Increase of corruption, that's sad. We're not spending money to decrease it, though, so it's going to be something. Oh, England just peaced out Scotland. Scotland has just little islands left. Just itty-bitty, not very helpful islands. What a pity. I'm surprised we haven't sieged out this province yet. What is taking Verdun so long? Ugh, failed a 64% tick. You hate to see it. We are starting to lose manpower as well because these two stacks are together. Interesting that Austria claimed Lorraine, even though they don't have a claim on it. So that's nice. Maybe it's just because it's adjacent. I don't know. Anyway, that's all we need to do there. Let's move our stack back to, I don't know, Ferrara. Just to make sure it's not a stack location already. I don't want attrition. Milan will peace out whenever we're ready. Death of a merchant. Do we want the money, or do we want to get a level 3 theologian for half price? Who do we have at the moment, even? We have an inflation reduction guy. But he's only a level 1 inflation reduction guy. You know what? We'll do it. Level 3 theologian. Only costing 3.42 gold a month. Beautiful. And because it is a theologian, you get that national decision for passing the Advancement of the Religion Act, which I almost never do. You get a little bit more missionary strength, but your institution spread is slower, and I don't like it. Ooh, speaking of things I don't like, offense or defense. Sounds like a great event, but both cause you to lose stability. I'm glad we have a +3 admin guy, I guess, to help us mitigate some of the loss of points here. Well, I guess we'll go for siege ability right now. We are going to boost our stability back up, though, that is for sure. Ow, that hurts. It's because of our Republican tradition. I'm still going to do to +1. Expensive and painful, but still the right thing to do. If you start getting into negative stability, all kinds of horror events can happen to you. Oh, and one of our generals just died. I guess we'll recruit one in his place. Mr. Mediocre is who replaced him, unfortunately. I don't want to roll again, but Domenico Savioli is going to be our contingency general. He's not terrible by any stretch, but he's just not very exciting. 3-3-2-2. It's kind of okay, but not great at anything. Alright, so we're at 97% war score now. We can start piecing some of these guys out. Who do we want to piece out first? Because if we piece out Milan, that'll piece out everybody. First things first. Okay, that's in the same state as Genoa. These four are in a state all of their own, so I'm tempted just for now to take Saluzzo. That's 18 aggressive expansion. Not too bad. We're going to humiliate them, get war reparations, and then just take some money off them. They won't give me all of their money, but I'm just going to say it's fine. And that'll increase our power projection massively from 42 to 79. And because we'll be over 50, we get 1 extra point in all of our stats. Get that started. What's the unrest look like? Bad. So we're going to take a stack of troops and sit them over there. I'm aware that we're costing ourselves a Diplo point a turn having open borders with Genoa at the moment, but it's just going to have to be what it is. Tuscany might not peace. Oh, they will peace out. I'm surprised they did. We are going to have to tread carefully here, because that's 35 aggressive expansion. Take money. We're going to do it because I'm not worried about any of these nations. And you may have noticed that practically all of them, only Trent is the exception. Actually, Trent and Montferrat. They're the only ones in here that didn't already have at least 50 aggressive expansion against us. So it really doesn't change anything. But we're going to take it, core it. It's an incredibly expensive core. And we're going to take a stack and sit on that as well. Now we have to be careful. Because Spain, for example, has 37 aggressive expansion. France has 30. Austria has 23. Switzerland, I'm not that worried about, but they have 40. They would be a mild inconvenience if they're in a coalition. And they almost certainly will, but I want to check the numbers. I'm going to wait at this point to let Memmingen finish being sieged out by Bohemia, so we can get some more money off them. It'll also allow us... Ooh, we're a great power. We'll talk about that in a minute. It'll also allow us to burn off some aggressive expansion while we wait. And Russia is now in a golden age. Good for them. Terrifying, though. Absolutely terrifying. So, Lithuania hates us, which is interesting because they're allied to one of our allies. So I'm hoping that's not going to create a scenario where Poland decides they don't want to be with us anymore. So I'm going to increase our trust there. Being a great power, let's talk about that for a moment. So we are the number 8 great power because there are only 8. And we are only 4 development behind Austria and only 10 behind France. Wow, how the turntables, right? It gives us a few actions we can do. We'll talk about hegemons later because nobody's anywhere near that right now. And honestly, in a lot of games, nobody really gets that close to them. But I want to show you what we can do. So let's pick a nation at random. Let's pick Hungary for a moment. Great power actions. So you can take on another nation's debt. And if you pay their debt, naturally, they like you. So that's a good way of increasing influence with a nation, preferably a smaller one, because the loans can get pretty expensive for the big boys. Then in terms of next option, you can influence a nation. So this costs you a little bit of money. It depends on the size of the nation and its income, how much it costs. But it gives them a point in whatever stat they are the worst in, and it increases their relation with you. The third option, you can intervene in a war. So there are a few caveats to this. So you can only intervene in a war if there's at least one great power on each side and there's a number that doesn't match. So let's say we look at this list. Let's say the Ottomans and Poland are at war, but Poland is allied to England, as an example. You wouldn't be able to join the Polish and the English side, but you could join the Ottoman side potentially. It doesn't often come up, and you'll have an alert for it up top if the opportunity arises, but it's interesting. But the main one, you can force a nation to break an alliance with another nation. It does cause a truce with both of them. Well, I mean, with each other, I should really say. But that can be very helpful to help slowly break apart giant networks of alliances, especially when there are a few small nations involved. So yeah, there are some fun things you can do. I'll be the first to admit, quite often I forget to do them. But they can be good. Birmingham is being stubborn, and it still hasn't been sieged out. Milan really, really wants peace, and we're just going to wait. Okay, finally, Birmingham has been sieged out. I don't want it, but I am going to ask for war reps, all of their money, which we won't get all of, but that's 18 more gold that we don't have to work to get. I don't care about any of that, so we're just going to send demands. And finally, 3rd of March, we can send a diplomat to Milan. Here's my problem. So, these two are very, very similar in terms of aggressive expansion. This is 26, this is 25. They're negligibly similar. Aggressive expansion-wise, though, taking either of them is going to bring Spain in, which is terrible. But I have to take one of them to claim Milan. But Milan, this is too many nations. This is too much. We could probably beat them all with our alliances if everybody came in. But if Poland starts to hate me because Lithuania hates me, this is too dangerous. So even though they were the war goal, we're not going to do the thing where we take any provinces at all. We're going to humiliate them and take war rep. We are going to take money off them. And then what we're going to do is nothing. We are not going to take any of their land. If we go too greedy, we're going to invite the entire world to declare war on us, and I really don't want that right now. We are going to rival Spain, though. We're not going to rival Lithuania. You would have noticed the option was there. But if I rival Lithuania, that's another penalty in Poland's mind in terms of our relationship. So I do not want to do that. So, we are now at peace again. Let's go through the building bash. So in terms of our options, I always like to try and get manufacturers in first. We only have one, though, that's of any value to us, so we're going to get that built. Manufacturers will be very helpful later. Naval batteries I usually don't build, but given the game, this could be quite useful. So there's two elements to this that could be helpful. The first bit is it does prevent slave raids. Not that that matters. But the first bit for us, at the very least, is it would slow enemies down that are coming from us navally from disembarking. But really the bit that's important is the hostile fleet attrition. So if somebody tries to sit outside your port to get, first of all, money off you, but also to increase the speed of a siege, it will hurt them to do it. Because we're constantly shooting at them. And Corsica wants one of those. Absolute done deal, it needs one. And given that you have a fort on you, I'm going to get one there. We don't need a ton of them, but having one or two of them would be helpful. Next thing we want to do is start going for more land force limit. I don't like building these when you only have one building slot left, so I'm going to build it in those 3 only. Ramparts kind of stink. Impressment offices I don't like great either. State houses can be helpful for getting the governing costs down, so you can get more out of provinces. So you can get more provinces in before you start getting over the cap and causing yourself a lot of pain. So we're going to do that. We still have 500 gold as a buffer, which is perfect. And there's one other thing I wanted to do, but I don't remember what it was. Story of my life. Oh yes, I want to check what our governing capacity was. So we're still not that close to our limit. Liguria now, though, is tempting to state. And we do want to stop with the open borders. Oh, we don't have them anymore anyway. Okay, that works for me. Yeah, Liguria as a state is now quite tempting, because even though we don't own them all, we have 22 development, and I like to think we're going to get this eventually, so we are going to call them as well. And we fulfill the mission. Conquer new states, because we have grown by at least 5 states. So if we accept, we get 25 years of less cost of harsh treatment, which we're not going to really have to deal with. But cheaper state maintenance, that just equals money. So 25 years of more money. Next line in that tree is the generic get 80,000 troops, which we're really not that far away from. We don't quite have the limit needed to run that without paying an arm and a leg for it. But it is something of interest. We're going to stop spying on Milan for now. We really don't need to. We're going to just have a diplomat on our allies. Is there anybody we want to pay the debt of? No, is the short and long answer for that. So we're going to leave our diplomat idle. And as soon as we take our dude away from Milan, we lose a claim. It really doesn't matter for now. When we think about wanting to take Milan back on, we'll just send a spy back. Anyway, we'll talk more about our plans for what we're going to do next episode. So if you want to see what we do, please stick around. I appreciate it as always. Hopefully you like the video. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care now. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching the video, and if you'd like to see more, feel free to stick around.